It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for Wednesday, February 12th, with your hosts, me, Ray, and, well, that good-looking kid, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Happy Wednesday, Pops. I'm doing great. Midway through the week, we're having fun. Things are going well. Today's show, folks, is brought to you by CarEdge.com. If you're in the market to buy a new or used car, or you want to know what your car is worth, or you need auto insurance or a vehicle service contract, anything and everything in between, check it out, CarEdge.com. And we are doing a really flash sale here. Maybe it's Valentine's Day, maybe it's President's Day. I don't know. Our car buying service, $100 off. I don't even know how long we're running this. The team is just running with stuff behind the scenes. Speaking of not even knowing what's going on, Dad, we've got some esteemed guests joining us today that they don't even know what's going on, but we are so fortunate and lucky to get some folks that have their fingers on the pulse of the car market right now. We got Ben and Jim from Cavender Auto joining us here today from down there in Texas. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Want to take a second to introduce yourselves to our CarEdge community?
I'm Ben Letterman. I'm the GSM here at Cavender Auto Country in wonderful Weimar, Texas.
Where the hell is that, by the way?
What's that?
Where is that?
It's right outside of Houston, just west of Houston. Yep. Right on Interstate 10.
And Jim?
My name is Jim Sanders. I'm the partner and general manager of Cavender Auto Country here in Weimar. And a little fun fact, I actually grew up in this little town. And after traveling all over Texas, working at different car dealerships, I ended up back home. So who knows how that happened? I think there was divine intervention involved.
Apparently, you should have never left.
Yeah.
Well, we welcome you guys. We really appreciate you joining us. And we ask that our community welcome Ben and Jim here as well. Now, Dad, I know you're going to kick off with the first question for these guys. I do want to frame this, however. Yesterday, we talked about Mercedes-Benz trying to cut costs by 25% because of the changes going on in the car market. And I went today with the car market has finally flipped as the title of today's show. It'll be great to get Ben and Jim's take on what changes have happened, if any, in their neck of the woods. What's going through your head, Dad, for Ben and Jim that we can ask them this morning?
Well, the first question that I had on my mind that I wrote down was, what are the current conditions, market conditions in your area? Have you seen a slowdown in sales? Have sales continued about the same? What are you seeing at the moment?
We have seen a bit of a slowdown, especially in the pre-owned market. It's gotten, and the new car market has gotten very competitive again. Being close to Houston, we've got a lot of big dealers that we try to compete with, and it's tough. You've got to be on your toes.
When you say it's gotten very competitive, I want to make this easy for people to understand, because we say it all the time that prices are coming down, and everybody that watches our show says, "Oh no, not where I live." So when you say it's getting competitive, does that mean you have to be more competitive in your pricing and how you structure your deals, and so that perhaps the profit levels that you're seeing both on new and used aren't as high as they had been?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's correct. We have to be very aggressive to try to keep people's attention. But we do set ourselves apart in one way, and because we're out of the metro area, I think that we approach our sales process differently than they do at some of the bigger stores. So, taking care of our customer and customer satisfaction is very important to us, and especially our local market.
Zach, I'll let you ask a question.
You mentioned something there about used cars. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing in the used car market, in part because we just got the latest data from Cox Automotive, and it shows that wholesale used car prices are back to their highest level since October of 2023. What are you seeing in the used car market in your area? And tied to that, customer demand, are people looking for used cars, or is that slowing down? What dynamics are you seeing in the used car market today?
The sales volume has come down. Like I said, the wholesale prices are good when we have to send the cars, but it seems like more people, since the interest rates have come down some from what they were, they're moving towards that new car instead of the 2-3-year-old pre-owned unless you got something that's a little bit older. So it's making it a little tougher to have the right inventory mix to keep your volume where you need it to be.
That's super interesting to hear because we've been talking about and debating on this show, both me and my dad and our community, trying to answer the question, what's a better value, new or used? And you're looking at some of these prices for some of the 2 to 3-year-old used cars, and they're kind of crazy. There's a lot of demand, at least what we hear from our community, of more affordable used cars, like sub $20,000 used cars, but those certainly aren't 2 to 3-year-old used cars. Those are 10 and 15-year-old used cars. I see a nod in your head there. That's similar to what you guys think about at your store.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot for used cars right now, is anything under 30 grand. Because if they're going to buy a used car, they're doing it, for budgetary reasons. Because the new cars, let's face it, they're very expensive now. But there's a lot more incentives now on new cars, and leasing has started to pick up. So people are starting to look at leasing new cars to get an affordable payment and still have a brand new vehicle.
Can we talk about that for just a moment? Sorry to interrupt, Ed. I just, at Chevy, Buick, and GMC, where are you seeing the manufacturers step up to try and help move these vehicles? Like, obviously the Blazer EV, I'd imagine, is one that's really, kind of like incentivized. Where else?
Yeah, it's particularly the EVs. The EV lease programs are crazy. I mean, I think you can get a Blazer EV for $299 a month on a lease. So. They're really pushing that, and so in the Hummer, there's a lot of money off, and the residual is extremely high on a lease. So that's kind of where they're directing all their attention right now to try to move some of this EV inventory, because quite frankly, I think they overproduced, especially in this area, and they're trying to get rid of them.
Have you found affordability to be a real issue in your area? We know that on average, the average new car payment these days is $756 a month, which to me seems like, I don't know, I should be able to buy a house for that. And so we've been screaming about affordability here on our show for over 4 years. Have you seen Chevy and GM and Buick step up and try and bring to the market more affordable cars so that you can keep more people in new cars?
They did that I believe they did that with that redesign on the Chevy Trax. It's a very aggressive price, and it looks cool compared to a lot of the other stuff out there. And then on the EVs, their purchase program on their lower end EVs, the Equinox and the Blazer, you can definitely get a very low payment on a purchase on those. So they're trying, and people are looking. We get a lot of people on the internet asking questions about those things. So it's hard to keep them in stock.
Speaking of on the internet, want to just remind everyone that Ben and Jim are from Cavender Auto Country down there in Weiler, Texas. Go ahead and you can check out their website, Weinberg, Texas, excuse me. You can go ahead and check out their website, as well as obviously back at CarEdge. We love working with these guys. They've been really, really helpful for our community. And I'm on the website right now, and I want to remind our community that they can ask y'all questions here. You're taking time out of your very busy day to provide these insights to us. We've got from Mr. C Northeast, what are the best possible deals on your lot just outside of Houston, Texas? So we're talking about like the Trax, for example, as being one that's more affordable, maybe moving a little bit more quickly. Are there particular vehicles that are sitting there? Obviously, it seems like the EVs are in their own category. My dad, I think, asked the right question, what the EV adoption like in your area, but even more broadly, to Mr. C Northeast, like, are there particular vehicles that are sitting a little bit longer than y'all would like and you're making moves on?
I just repriced, and I sent one of your reps some real aggressive pricing. Now, a question on what's your best deal, it depends on what you're looking for. You're looking for a low payment, or you just want to see something with the biggest discount. I have a super nice Corvette on the showroom that definitely is the best deal in the lot. But there's some other cars. We got some 24s that are brand new that we have to move, and I sent the pricing over to your team. That way they got those handy. So we definitely have some deals. If that person's close by, I'd love to talk to them and earn their business.
Can you do me a small favor
Yeah.
and explain to our audience why inventory management and old aged units per se are such a dilemma for dealerships, and how you approach that when you have something that's been sitting on the lot longer than you would like. Can you explain to the audience how you tend to get more aggressive in an effort to get rid of those vehicles?
You never like to have anything sit too long. For one, it could be the unit that everybody test drives and the miles slowly start creeping up on it. Your floor plan, we start getting charged more on the interest on having that car on the lot. So always watch the aging on our new car list, and that's the older ones are usually the ones with the best specials on them because we got to turn it so we don't have to spend more money on that vehicle.
You know, one of the tricks that we share with people is to, whatever model you're interested in, when you go to the dealership, ask the salesperson, what's the oldest one of these that you have in inventory? Please go ask your manager which one's the oldest one so that I can get the most aggressive deal on it. Would that be a true statement?
Absolutely. And I wish your audience and all of our customers would come in with that very attitude. It would help us a lot.
So if I hear you correctly, the crap I'm trying to teach people out there is accurate crap.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely, we work with our sales managers to, try to direct the salespeople to show the customers the value of going with some of these older units, because there really is a better value for everyone involved,
Hey, I want to make sure that we can take a few minutes here to talk about Cavender and the work that you guys are doing, why we work together, and how you treat customers so fairly, so great down there. Before we do, we are really passionate here about what's going on in terms of negative equity at CarEdge. I'm very curious if either of you have any anecdotes or information you can share about, negative equity that you've seen. And a reminder, negative equity is when someone goes to trade in a vehicle and they owe more than what the vehicle is worth. Have you been seeing an explosion of that? Has it been happening more and more often, or are things kind of, maybe not that big of a deal on the negative equity front?
From what I have seen, it's still out there, but it's slowed down quite a bit from those people that did buy during COVID, that those dealers that were charging over MSRP. It seems like everybody kind of either started paying some more money or already traded out of them. So we're not seeing it as much. Out here where we're at, we are away from the bigger cities. We're in the perfect area to do business in Austin, San Antonio, Houston, even Dallas. And a lot of our local community, they put some miles on their cars. So that's usually where we see the negative equity rolling, is they just put on more wear and tear on their vehicles than anything else.
Are your banks and your lending institutions, are they working with you and the customers in terms of helping them take care of the negative equity and roll it into the next loan?
This past week, we've seen some help from some of our lenders on that right now.
No, that's good and bad for the customer.
I mean, we saw a lot of that a couple of years ago, and that led to 150% loan to value ratios, and now people sitting on the other side of that. But I hear you. Maybe it's actually the worst has passed, at least in your area, in terms of people who 3 years ago paid over sticker for a new car, wanted to get out of it again now, and we're looking at that big negative equity. It kind of exacerbates the affordability challenge that we see people running into all of the time. So talk to us a little bit, guys. What are you doing differently down there at Cavender, and why should our community, be so proud and interested in working with y'all?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we really focus on the customer experience, and we want to not just sell a car. We want to help these people get what they want, and we want to establish our relationships, not just a one-time relationship, but a lifetime relationship. We want loyal customers, and the only way to get loyal customers is to make them happy and make them feel important, and make them realize that you are truly interested in giving them what they want. We have our motto here is confidence is Cavender, making confidence happen, and that's confidence not only from our end but also from the customer's end, knowing that when they come to us, they're going to get the best price and the best experience possible.
I know I've said this many, many times that dealerships have to decide how it is they want to do business. There are dealerships out there that are in growing areas, and they say to themselves, well, our hope would be to sell everybody one car, and the way we treat the people, we'll never sell them a second car. Or there's dealerships that operate in the manner where they go, we want to sell a few people a lot of cars. And it always seemed to me that if you had the attitude you wanted to sell a few people a lot of cars, that made a hell of a lot more sense if you wanted to stay in business for a very, very long time.
Yes, sir. And it's very important here because, these communities are very tight knit. Just about everybody here is either related to each other or they know each other and they talk to each other all the time. And, a bad experience can spread like wildfire. So we make sure that, we don't have many of those. It's impossible to make everybody happy, of course, but we sure do our best.
Well, gentlemen, we know you've got a store, a showroom and a store to run. That being said, final question from my end. Do you think the car market has flipped? Do things feel different today than they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or are things still the same? How's the car market changed?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's harder now than it was even before COVID began.
Yeah, it's like I said, well, Ray, you know this, but I mean, the car market is constantly changing, and you have to adapt with it. And yeah, we're into an area now where, we have to work a little bit harder. We really do. And it's to see some of these salespeople's expressions now that started selling cars during the COVID days when it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It's we have to basically start all over, retrain, retool, and remotivate.
Well, I would think that salespeople, I don't want to say got fat and lazy during COVID, but they probably got fat and lazy during COVID, and they forgot what the craft is, to actually listening to people and working towards a collaborative outcome of helping that person get the vehicle they want, and you as a salesperson making a deal. It doesn't take any skill to say, well, either you pay this price or the guy behind you will. That doesn't take any skill. But when there is no guy behind you anymore, then it starts to take a little bit of skill, and they have to relearn their craft, I would think.
Yes, sir.
Well, gentlemen, we're pleased and proud to be able to work with y'all. So thank you for taking the time today to join us on the show. And I've seen tons of positive comments here in the chat. So maybe we can get you back on in another month or two to share another update for what's going on in your neck of the woods. Again, Ben and Jim are with Cavender Auto Country. Just pulled up one of their vehicles here so y'all can see it. Let me pull that up on the screen. Go check out their website. And of course, we are proud and pleased to work with them as well. Guys, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, all the best.
Thank you,
Talk
guys.
soon.
Thank you so very much.
All right, we got to get on the right side. There
we go. Whoa. I felt a little off for the first 18 and a half minutes because I was just, I don't know where I am.
Lots of thank yous in the chat. Those guys are working today.
Yes.
Could you imagine, Dad, when you were still in the dealership, someone hits you up, calls you and says, hey, we want you to go on YouTube Live during your workday. Would you have done it?
Well, first of all, I would have had no idea what YouTube is or YouTube Live. And any opportunity I would have had to speak to the masses, my personality would have been, let's do it.
All right. We would have convinced my dad to have come up.
It wouldn't have taken much. Trust me.
Well, really, really, really thrilled that those guys could join. And Dad, I think some really important insights there, specifically around having to be more competitive. What does being more competitive mean? Sure, there can be differentiators in terms of how you treat customers. In a lot of ways, in any type of commodity business, it comes down to price. So, price pressures. We asked about the negative equity. We've seen more. Now we're actually seeing less. Such good insights that we're able to get from Ben and Jim there. Really appreciate their time.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway for me is for Jim to say to us, we need to be more aggressive. We have to be more aggressive. What does that mean for the customers out there? It means they're getting a better deal. They're making less money per vehicle sold than they had been. So when people say prices aren't going down, okay, maybe advertised prices aren't necessarily going down, but the ultimate transaction price at the dealership is indeed going down, because it's harder to get people to say yes today, and there's more competition for that customer. When the market contracts like it has, when 85% of the buying public doesn't feel as if they can purchase a new car, well, that only leaves 15% of the people out there, and those 15% that can are not just going to one dealership, they're shopping other dealerships. So in order to convince somebody to buy the car from you, you have to give them good reasons as why they need to do business with you. But you also have to be aggressive in your pricing to get them to say yes. Remember, a customer will not say yes until the value that they perceive exceeds the price that you're asking them to pay. And in many cases, you have to continually lower the price to get the customer to finally say yes. That cuts into profits. So I'm telling you, folks, they're not making as much money today as they had been. Now, the issue is that the damn prices are still high and the MSRPs are high, but the profit level is much less than what it had been.
And I think there are some really interesting angles to that conversation as well around salespeople and wanting to get sales, but having to work harder for those sales. You asked the question about if a customer comes in and asks you, what's the oldest on your lot vehicle for this particular make and model? That was obviously a moment where it's like, yes, please be more educated. Do that. These folks at these dealerships, you used to say this to me all the time. You didn't get up out of bed, drive to the dealership and go there not to sell cars. You went there to sell cars. Educated and empowered customers help these dealerships sell more cars. And especially as the market has finally flipped, it is an opportunity to help these dealers sell more cars. You're also helping yourself. You're getting a better deal than you would have during peak pandemic times when there were markups and all sorts of craziness. So there's a win-win opportunity here. And it's dealers like Ben and Jim from Cavender that I think stand to really do well in this next phase of the car business, because they're coming on shows like these. They're saying to customers, yeah, come ask us for our oldest one. We'll give you the best deal. We want to get rid of it. Love that transparency. And Dad, I just wanted to comment. It's not just, folks that we get on the show here. Lithia Q4 net income was up 0.5% amid higher expenses, lower gross profit on sales. The other day, AutoNation net income declines 14%. So we're seeing this not only at the smaller local level, we're seeing this with the major public dealer groups. The market has flipped.
It is. If it hasn't flipped, it's on the spatula getting ready to be flipped. Okay, it is. There is an increase in inventory. We're back up to over 3 million new cars in dealership inventory again that are available either on the ground or in transit this month. That number doesn't bode well for dealership profits.
Nope.
Okay, so now if you're a Toyota dealer, that might be different because you have a limited day supply of most of the vehicles that you're selling. But if you're at a mass market retailer like Ben and Jim, that increased inventory puts increased pressure to sell that inventory down because, as Ben said, floor plan costs add up.
Man. I mean, the publicly traded company data is the most fascinating there.
Yes.
This went from a multi-$100 million in aggregate for the 6 publicly traded car dealer groups, multi-$100 million profit center during the pandemic to being a multi-$100 million cost center. So no, I mean,
that's a huge swing.
Yeah, and the publicly traded dealer groups, there's 6 of them. They make up less than 10% of market share of new cars sold. So if there's hundreds of millions of dollars in swings happening for them, there's billions of dollars worth of swings happening at the full industry level. Again, so grateful that we're able to interact with the dealer community like this. Dad, let's come to the chat here.
Sure.
And then our favorite segment of the show from Michael. Thank you, Michael, for the kind contribution. Guests were excellent today. We agree. You should try and collaborate with Scotty Kilmer. He really looks out for customers, and he's a great has a great mechanics perspective on these newly overcomplicated platforms. We appreciate the kind words and the contribution. Have never been able to successfully get in touch with Mr. Kilmer, but maybe someday it will happen. And Michael, thank you as well for this. Are you a grandpa and uncle yet? We are. We're waiting on my sister to give us the green light that we can talk about it publicly. But yes, the short answer is we are, and it is incredible. Almost a week ago, we welcomed a new part of the family, a new member to the family, to the world. That was incredible.
And all I will say is that she is the belle of the ball here where I live at the condominium, because I sent pictures to the office staff, and it's like, oh my God, she's so gorgeous. Well, yes, she is.
She is. She's a freaking, yeah. Oh man, it makes me so happy. Wow, holding a newborn is a surreal experience. Okay, let's go to our favorite segment of the show, Pops.
Really? You have got to be kidding me.
Posted this over on X. This dealer can't sell a new 2023 Ford F-150. They've had it for almost 500 days because back during those COVID times, they added $50,000 in accessories. The car market is finally healing. We've got a 2023 Ford F-150 Lariat four-wheel drive. All right. Looks like it's nice and lifted up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a peek. The MSRP is $125,995. Shocker. It actually isn't, but once you add all the accessories, it is. The dealer discount tab. I mean, this is a screaming deal. $28,995 discount. I mean, we got to jump all over that. You do a little bit of digging. The original MSRP on this vehicle was $75,095. Okay.
Wow.
$75,095. And back during the pandemic, when there were a shortage of vehicles, this dealer marked it all the way up to $125,995 because they added a boatload of accessories. I put it into the CarEdge machine. And there you go, Dad. 492 days they've had this vehicle sitting on their lot. That is not a good experience.
It is not, and the possibility exists, even with that $28,000 discount, that it could be sitting there another 492 days. I remember times when I would load up vehicles. And you have to be prepared when you start adding stuff to vehicles.
Load up, you mean add accessories?
Oh, add accessories, put big ass tires and wheels on them. Just get crazy. And you have to realize when you do some of that stuff that you might only be appealing to one or two people in your market area. And if you can't catch them when they're ready to do something, you could be sitting on that vehicle for like ever. And you need to be prepared.
How long are you sitting on the vehicle?
Like forever, or for like ever. And so you need to be prepared to, if you've done a few vehicles like this and you've sold them rather quickly, and then there's like one that sits around, you just need to be prepared to take that loss on that one and count your blessings that you made the money on the others. I always used to try to guess what it is the customers would like. I didn't always guess right.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example with this truck. 492 days, coming up on its second birthday, for goodness sake.
Well, it's going to take a while to get to its second birthday, but still
well on its way, and discounted nearly 30 grand, and still way overpriced relative to. I mean, it's still being. They're still expecting to get way more than its original MSRP, which I understand their position on it. They probably put, I don't know if they marked it up 50 grand, they probably put 20 grand, 25 grand of accessories into it. So like there's a lot on it. but there's no buyer.
It's just, I don't know. I've always said it. Anytime you do something to a vehicle, it's a crapshoot. Your hope is that what you did, people are going to find, oh my goodness, I have to have that. Or in this particular case, people look at it and go, I'll pass. And legitimately now, it's a 2-year-old truck, whether you want to admit it or not. Even though it's only sat on your lot for a year and a half, it is a 2-year-old truck for whoever's buying it. Now, what's the normal 2-year depreciation on that truck? And my guess is that if it was really $125,000 truck, it's going to be more than 28 grand. It's just a guess.
Come on, man. We have the data. Let's look here. Value rating on a Ford F-150 is a C-.
Yeah.
Let's
But
jump
it
down
is
to
America's #1 selling pickup truck.
cost to own, and I'm going to click on depreciation. Drum roll, please. Here's our depreciation chart for a Ford F-150. In the first year, you're losing almost 22%. Yeah, over 20%. In your first 2 years, you're losing 25% of the value of your Ford F-150.
Okay, so that was a $75,000 truck. So it's down to, what's 25% of that? 10%.
Here, let's put it in here, Dad. Let's put it in here. Let's just use the calculator.
Okay, cool.
Let's say it's brand new.
Yeah.
At $75,000, and we're going to own it for 2 years, and we'll put the lowest mileage our calculator lets us put on. You've got this thing losing $16,361 in value.
Okay, so
the resale value is actually $58,639. And again, this dealership has had this vehicle for 492 days. Its original MSRP was that $75,000. They are listing it for sale at $97,000 because that's a huge discount off of $126,000 they were asking for. So there you go.
Did they give a breakdown of what it is that they added to the vehicle?
I'm sure it's on the website. I did not include that in this screenshot.
I'm just, and my guess is if the ads were about $50,000, that their cost in that was probably somewhere around $25,000.
Yeah, 20 or 25 would be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're offering 29,000 off. So they're giving you a $4,000 discount. That's not enough. It's not enough. Just say. Yeah.
Folks, CarEdge.com. Hopefully you just saw there. I clicked on research, and from research, you end up in our research and ratings section. Fantastic tool here. Choose the vehicle you're interested in. You can learn more. You can also download free window stickers. This works for pretty much every single make and model except for Porsche. We don't have Porsche window stickers. That is free. Free dealer invoice. You can get your hands on that. You can see the best deals going on right now. You can see what other CarEdge community members have paid, access our car calculators, and review current lease deals. We also have the fastest and slowest selling cars in your neighborhood, depreciation comparison, CarEdge insights. There is so much incredible stuff back on CarEdge.com, and especially in the Research Hub. And again, a reminder, we are doing a limited time $100 off discount on our car buying service here. We are gearing up for those President's Day sales, I guess Valentine's Day. I actually don't know how long this lasts, so take advantage of it.
You know why we're doing it? I can tell you.
Why are we doing it, Pops?
Because we love our customers. And Cupid is out there shooting $100 coupons for our customers.
What a fantastic show today. Thank you to everyone who joined us. We really appreciate it. Thanks again to Ben and Jim. And Dad, we'll be back tomorrow with more Car Edge Live, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time, talking about something fun, I am sure. We have a Mazda dealer joining us on Friday, so stay tuned for that as well.
Well, it sounds wonderful. And you know what? I pledge to be back here tomorrow. I do indeed.
If you're not, I'm going to be concerned. See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.